Today we're going to be talking about how redemption arcs are becoming very popular, but I also would like to touch on the point that not every character needs or deserves a redemption arc. I think this partially goes back to the idea that just because someone says they're sorry, that act does not undo what that person has done in the past. If someone has hurt you, they don't necessarily have to be forgiven. If someone has murdered an entire village, that doesn't necessarily mean that later when they save a single girl from running off a horse or what have you, that all of a sudden they're a better person and we should just forget every atrocity that they've ever done. This is something that I know, at least I speculate, that a lot of people like this idea that anyone, no matter how terrible, can be redeemed because it means anything we do, no matter how terrible, can be redeemed, can be forgiven. Somehow we think our terrible acts, the terrible acts of these characters that we are rooting for, can be expunged by a much smaller and yet still noble good act, and that isn't the case. I'm not saying that redemption arcs should be done away with completely. I'm saying I think the redemption is achieved way too easily. For instance, in Once Upon a Time, the evil queen, this is a spoiler, at the end is dubbed the good queen. But we see that she intentionally puts children in harm's way. We see she has a room filled with so many hearts that she's lost count. She's killed innumerable people. She condemned an entire realm of existence because a little girl didn't keep a secret that she didn't realize was that big of a deal. I don't agree that that arc should have been done. I agree that she was better than she was, but through the course of the story, basically all of her bad deeds by the end are just forgotten. Now she does go through a very long arc in order to get there. She has a lot of major changes she goes through, and it's a back and forth. So I don't agree with the end that she should be dubbed the Good Queen. However, I do think she has put in the legwork to get there. This is why writing is so hard. I do think having some characters that are just good beginning to end is great, and having some characters that are just evil beginning to end is good too. Something to keep in mind with these things is that a good reputation is easy to break. It is very easy to sully a good reputation. However, a bad reputation takes forever to rectify. Building up a good reputation after you have such a bad reputation is going to take time. So, like I said, for me, it's frustrating when a redemption arc happens very quickly with seemingly very little effort on the character's part. People just decide, well, you did all these terrible things, but you did two good things, so you must be a good guy now. That's not how it actually works. It's quite the opposite. Someone with nothing but a pearly white reputation can do one bad thing and then be forever cast as a villain. But someone that has a terrible reputation can do dozens of good things and people will still point out the bad things that they've done. So if you are going to do a redemption arc, I guess my request is try and make it a little realistic. Make the character put in the work. Make the character realize that this is a struggle. Now this can be a great opportunity for a fluctuating character. Maybe they're evil, they decide they're going to try to be good, and they put in a lot of work, and they realize that it's just, they put in so much effort and they keep hitting barriers because everyone just points out the past. And maybe that makes them revert back to that a little bit. Or maybe it's such a back and forth of they do a couple good things and then they do something really terrible, and then they try to do a couple good things and then they do something really terrible. And that's something that can help build that character because they realize what a slow grind it is. Maybe that's something that if you are dead set on your villain having a redemption arc, helps them appreciate the hero of your story, is that they realize how much work it is, how much constant, relentless work it is to actually achieve that goodness that the hero has. Fun idea. So that's my humble request, is just make them put in the work. Somewhere we do see this redemption arc a lot is in fairy tale retellings. So there's been a real trend lately with, and by lately I mean the past several years, of painting the villains as just heroes that haven't put in the work yet. So especially things like Maleficent, we find out she's not actually the bad guy, she was painted as the bad guy. And Once Upon a Time, the evil queen is just an abused little girl that was trying to find a way out, but kept getting slammed into bad situations. I think those retellings are great inspiration for dissecting a redemption arc. In Just Ella, we've kind of see, now she is irredeemably definitely the evil stepmother, but we see that basically she feels abandoned. She feels like she was just dropped and given this, this girl, the situation, and doesn't know what to do with it. Now, I do like that she's not really given a redemption arc, because she's still, even though she was given a bad situation, she still abused Ella for her entire life. And that's something that, again, I say, they don't need to be redeemed. It's enough, I think, to explore their motives and understand them. But understanding someone's motives does not necessarily mean that they instantly need to be forgiven. You can understand why someone did something they did and still point out the fact that they didn't have to do it. Someone that punched you in the face because they had a bad day did not have to punch you in the face, because it's not your fault that they had a bad day. And that's something that redemption arcs sometimes like to overlook. They think that, well, we understand why they did what they did, therefore we must forgive them. But that's something that in stories and in life, for sure, isn't true. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found something of use in your storytelling, and if not in your storytelling, then something that you can apply to your life today. And likes, comments, and subscribes are always wildly appreciated, and I will see you in the next chapter.